welcome dear viewers to this special interview. Today we are going to interview Yohann and Martin, the two Swedish journalists who have been imprisoned in Ethiopia for the last 14 months and released at the eve of the Ethiopian New Year. And your guests will be Mesfin Negash, or managing editor of the now defunct Addis Neger online magazine, and who was also sentenced to 8 years by the Ethiopian regime last year. And my name is Theodros Arega, ex-Ethiopian television reporter and producer. I have been living here in Sweden since 2004. Let's start and let's go. Please listen.
Okay. Martin and Yohann, welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. We are very happy to be here,
sure.
and to speak to an Ethiopian audience. We are very happy. During 14 months, we have not been able to say anything, so it's we are very happy to be invited and to give our view of what has happened in the story.
Thank you.
Thank you for this.
Thank you. Welcome. Let me start. Let me take you from the last day of your release. How did you heard about the news that you are ultimately going to be released, and who told you? How did you react? You hug each other, or you said, how was that? How was the moment?
I mean, there's during all these 14 months been a lot of rumors, like you will be released at Christmas or for Easter or for different occasions. So when you are in prison, you get kind of you don't believe everything you hear. But the first time we hear that there's some kind of diplomatic breakthrough is in May this year, where we hear Carl Bildt, the foreign minister of Sweden, visit this Kaliti. I think it's the first time a foreign minister is in Kaliti, Kaliti prison. But he tells us that he had a conversation with Meles Zenawi, and that Meles promised to release us on the Ethiopian New Year. But
yeah, like Martin said, there's many rumors in the prisons, and I mean, you're not out or you're out, so to say. So, but of course, we believe that we should be released on New Year, but we didn't know exactly. But, yeah, but I mean, normally on New Year they start to release people like 10 o'clock or something in the morning. Then they give name out in the speaker system. But me and Martin was not on this list.
Okay.
So I mean, after 2 hours, something 12 o'clock, they stopped to give names because everybody was released. They should be released. Then me and Martin get a little bit nervous, and I mean, the time was ticking.
Okay.
The time went 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and also 5. I mean, and normally they lock us in 20 minutes past 5.
5. Okay.
And 5 o'clock, nothing has happened. We was thinking and was speaking to ourselves. Okay, something went really wrong, and now we maybe have to stay 1 more year to next New Year.
Another New Year.
Yeah. So we was really depressed then, and I remember I was lying to my bed and just closed my eyes and was thinking, there's going to be 1 more year here now. But then suddenly one police come into our room and shouting, out, out, you're going out. And I mean,
did you have time to pack your things?
No, it was quite chaotic. I mean, the whole room was running into
the whole zone actually.
Yeah.
It was like 800 people cramming into the room, and we had given away some stuff or promised people, like, if I go you can have my sleeping bag and you can have my shoes, but we didn't have time to say goodbye to our friends. It was really chaotic, and to make way for us to get out, the police had to start and use almost a platoon to stick to like, because everybody, I mean, when we came into prison, people were happy because I mean, 2 Western journalists in prison, they were happy and kind of applauded us. And when we left, people were also happy for us that we were going out. So it was very emotional.
Yeah, because I mean, all the people inside there knows if me and Martin get released, we can go home and tell the world what's going on inside Kaliti. I mean, so I think for many people, for many prisoners, me and Martin was a big hope, because we was
witnesses.
Yeah, witnesses, exactly. And they know that we're going to go home to Sweden and we're going to write what's happening inside Kaliti or inside Ethiopia. So I think many people was happy that we should go out and tell the world what's going on. And I remember that was the last thing I hugged one of my friends inside there, and he was tell me, come close to my ear, said, "Johan, now tell the world what's going on.
Okay.
We trust you."
Okay.
I mean, that's the thing we're going to do now.
Yeah, we'll
I mean,
come
to speak
to
to
that.
you. Or, yeah.
Come to
Let's go to the next question. Did you expect that you'll be released even if the Prime Minister, who has the ultimate power on your life, was died weeks before? Some people say otherwise.
We were very nervous. I mean, we got the news that Meles Navi was sick and being treated in the hospital in Europe quite early in June, and then we get the news on the morning that he has died, and everything just stops in the prison. There is no one going to court. The loudspeaker goes silent, and you can almost touch the atmosphere. The tension is very, very high. And of course I shout to Johan that, or run out and find Johan and say that Meles Navi has died, and we just, oh my God, what's going to happen now? Because he was the one who had promised us our release. And our co-prisoners, they react very differently.
Oh.
Many of them, started crying immediately, and are really, really sad, because they saw, Meles Navi as a hope for their country, a hope for a better future. And they used to think that Meles Navi can never know what's going on in this prison. If he had known, things would be different in Kaliti. So they saw him as a symbol of hope, many people.
Is that how all prisoners?
No. Other people were angry and say that why does everything have to close just because this guy died? But those who express different views are, some are beaten, some people are taken to the police and they get chained for expressing criticism of Meles Navi. So the situation is very, very tensed and polarized.
And also, Ethiopia now is, it's not a free society, and also inside Kaliti, you're not free to, the secret police have a big
presence.
Big presence, inside the prison also, so people don't, they are afraid to say, if you cannot speak politics in the prison, because then if you speak something that are against the government, you get a report to the police, and then they maybe can change you to another zone or beat you, or you can disappear. So people, you cannot speak about politics in prison. That's really dangerous. So also when
have you seen people taken out for speaking some critical views against the government in the prison?
Yeah, sometimes people had just left our zone, and you ask what happened to him, and they say, he talked too much politics. Okay. So they were taken to dark rooms.
And we also know that people get reported to, if they have some critical opinion about Meles Navi or the government, they get immediately reported. Because everybody, even the police along the prisoners, you have snitchers that report each other to. So when Meles was dying, nobody. I believe that many people was sad. For real. But many people also was pretending to be sad because
they're supposed to.
They're supposed to be.
For them.
They was maybe afraid to get reported. If they don't cry enough, they maybe get reported also.
What was the rituals there in memory of the late Prime Minister? Like, is there condolence sessions or writing some?
It was. For almost 3 weeks there were different ceremonies going on
in the prison.
In the prison, yeah. We both had a gathering in our zone where everybody. A light ceremony with lights, and during this time all the rooms were locked, so everybody was. It was not voluntarily, it was mandatory to be in this ceremony.
So you go out and go to...
Yeah, and listen to different speeches inside our zone. Okay. There was also one big gathering on the football field in Kaliti, where specially invited people from all the zones went.
Okay.
And were speeches and these kind of things, and also a book of condolences where people write their names. And many people told me and Johan that, I don't want to write anything, but I feel that I have to, because if my name is not in the book, it might be problematic for me.
But did you?
For me. No, we took part in the light ceremony. You can see it in two ways. It's when someone dies from disease, there is always a family, there is I mean, daughters and sons, and from this perspective, I mean, of course, you have to mourn him as a human, as a human being.
Yeah.
So we took part in the ceremony from that perspective.
What was the dominant feeling among the prisoners on the days of the Mendes in your view?
No, also I think many people was worried, me and Martin also, because we didn't know what's going to happen now in Ethiopia. I mean, what's going to happen inside the government now, because you didn't know it's going to be a battle between different forces inside the government. I mean, if it's going to go in this direction or this direction. So I think many people was quite worried what's going to happen, I mean, political in the country.
Okay, let's come to your confession. I mean, you made a confession immediately before your release, and were you told or advised to say or to act in a different way? For example, Martin, you said you made the biggest mistake of your life on live, on camera. So did you really mean it, or just tell us about the whole staged drama?
No, it was the biggest and maybe the best lie of my life. It took me out of prison, so I can sit here with you and freedom and tell my story. But I mean, we had a choice after we were convicted to 11 years. We had a choice to appeal or to apply for pardon.
Okay.
And we had seen what kind of judicial process it had been. It was not a fair trial. It was not. We didn't believe that we could, in an Ethiopian court, get our release, because I would never confess to having made any kind of mistake.
Why didn't you make an appeal instead of asking for pardon?
Because then people would, I mean, Ethiopia would just get more angry at us. We would create another media circus, and we would stay many more years in jail. And the thing is, it's not like 11 years in Sweden. I mean, I don't think we had survived 11 years. 11 years in Kaliti, especially for foreigners, I mean, it's a death sentence. You would not survive. Okay. So we had, I mean, it was a tough decision to make, I mean, not to appeal, but to ask for pardon. And I mean, it's a decision that brought us out, but it was a part of the pardon package.
Yeah, it was a tactic. I mean, both me and Martin have discussed this with the Swedish, I mean, embassy and our lawyers, and it was a tactic that we used. That I mean, we cannot win this trial because this trial is not fair. This is a political case. I mean, we can never win this because it's political. And I mean, we are journalists and we are convicted because we are journalists. I mean, so I mean, quite early in the process, me and Martin was discussing with the embassy together with the lawyers, and we said, okay, now it's better to play dead, to don't make the Ethiopian government more angry, because also, I mean, it was dangerous for us because we didn't know what kind of things could happen to us if we start to speak freely in the court also. I mean, it can be dangerous for us in the prison, or I mean, something can happen with our security. I mean, that we were also afraid of. And I mean, so we took the decision together, me and Martin, and together with the embassy, that the safest thing and the quickest way out is to just play this role in this fake trial, and then try to get out as fast as possible. And this was to ask for pardon.
Yeah, we saw you on national TV. You were clean shaven, you were clean, and you look good. And you said, well, what you said on the national TV. What and many of the viewers are wondering is, were you told to say all those things, or you just?
There are some key words in our pardon application. The first thing is to regret it, and it was a mistake to come illegally. The second part is to regret, collaboration with ONLF, and then to ask for forgiveness to the Ethiopian government and to the Ethiopian people, and to have a humanitarian touch to it. We want to return back to our wives and families. These are the four key points in our pardon letter, and these key points we also had to have on camera.
Okay.
So it was, it's a part of the package. And this is this is how Ethiopia does with political prisoners or prisoners of conscience. I mean, we have seen this before. I mean, Burtukan is one example. There are several others where people in front of the camera have to tell, I'm an idiot, what I did was totally wrong, and then they are released, but they are also released after a kind of, I mean, a mental rape. I mean, when we do this interview, we don't have our freedom of expression. We are still sentenced to 11 years. If we don't say the right things, we might go back to Kalite and stay there, and not to go out. And I mean, we had discussed this with other prisoners as well, and they told us that, you know, before they will let you out, you will have to do with television. And we asked them, I mean, what do people know that if we go on camera, will the Ethiopians believe it? And the prisoners tell us, some will, but most people will not. They will understand why you do it. You do it to get your freedom. And they tell us whatever they want you to say, just say it. Okay. You don't do any good in here. You can do more good on the outside by supporting, I mean, the struggle for democracy, or I mean, by putting the searchlight on what's going on in Ethiopia. When we are still prisoners, we cannot do that.
No, and like Martin said, it's to make it clear. I mean, we do this interview before we get released. I mean, when we do this interview, we are still in the prison.
Oh, okay.
Exactly.
Yeah,
because you are released in the night, or late in the afternoon.
I mean, we are waiting. We're still waiting for the official decision with a stamp. Okay. And I mean, first we tried to refuse to do this and say we don't want to do it, and this paper never show up. Okay. So we are like try to to go around this interview. But after 1 hour, we say, okay, we do it, and then immediately after, the paper with the stamp comes.
I hope everyone with a good grasp of the Ethiopian politics will understand the situation you gave that kind of interview. Let me take you back to the beginning of the whole project that puts you in Kalite. Why Ogaden? What was special about Ogaden for you guys to decide and to take this risk?
Yeah, I mean, especially Ogaden is a quite. I mean, it's an area with a big conflict with the rebels and the Ethiopian army. And in this conflict, we have a lot of civilian people that get smashed in the middle and are fleeing out. It's an interesting conflict. But I mean, the main point is that now we also have an oil company that works in the region that have strong connections to Sweden. The name of this company is Africa Oil, and it's also
foreign correspondent Robert Fisk. He did an interview with Bin Laden. That doesn't make him a supporter of Al Qaeda. It gave him the Pulitzer Prize. I mean, so this is to get the whole story as a journalist, you have to meet people who are maybe not always so nice. You have to meet the bad guys in a conflict. And I mean, that is how we work. If we do a story about pirates, I want to talk to a pirate. If I do a story about human trafficking, I want to speak to a human trafficker. It doesn't mean I support them, but I want to understand why are they fighting, why are they attacking oil companies. But of course, you have to be. I mean, as a journalist, we don't take a stand in the conflict. I mean, we are. We have to, when you work, when you choose to use a group as a taxi, you have to be aware that, of course, this group has its agenda, just as the Ethiopian government has its agenda, and you have to, talk to both parts and listen to both parts. But of course, we were aware with that, and we were very careful. That's why we talked to many different refugees in many different countries as well, to avoid political bias among the refugees.
But but the main point is, I as a journalist, I don't really care who is put terrorist stamps on who. I want to be able to speak to all the people I want to speak to. I don't really care if they have a terrorist stamp or not. I have interviewed neo-Nazis or fascists or different militia groups in many parts in Africa. I don't support these people, but it's my job to speak to them.
Yeah, and that doesn't make you a fascist or a neo-Nazi.
No, of course not. No.
So that's what I would like to know, because most ordinary people don't know about this whole theoretical things. They just take what is being said on TV or radio or newspaper. And I just want to clarify these things to our viewers, Ethiopian viewers.
Then your final fateful trip from Somaliland to Ogaden. With whom were you, and how you end up in the hands of the Ethiopian?
I mean, we was entered Ethiopia with one car. I mean, we was using a smuggler to cross the border with one car. It was me, Martin, and one driver.
Okay.
And he was
only three of you in one car?
Yeah, when we crossed the border, we was two cars before. I mean, we had the bodyguards that save us protect us in Somalia. But when we entered Ethiopia, it was just one driver and me, Martin. And he dropped us off, and then we met a group of around 20, 30 OLF rebels.
Okay.
So, but we entered the border alone with one smuggler.
Okay. Okay. Then,
I mean,
where the Ethiopian military?
Something when we cross, we are maybe like 20 kilometers or something inside Ethiopia before we meet the UNLF, and then there is two military jeeps who sees us during the night. So we have a car.
These military jeeps are
Ethiopian army.
Okay.
Yeah,
inside Ethiopia.
Inside Ethiopia. So they chase our cars for like 30 minutes, but we managed to get away.
Okay.
We have a very good driver.
Okay. Okay.
And we managed to shake them off.
Okay.
And so we get detected, I mean, inside the Shilabo region, not on the border, but deep inside Ethiopia, in the Shilabo region.
Okay.
And then we meet the UNLF group, and we get off the car and start to walk with them.
Okay.
And from there, I think the Ethiopian army, they follow our footsteps. So about 3 days later, on the evening of the 30th of June.
3 days? You have been there for
4 days. Yeah, we enter on the 27th of June.
And
the 30th of June in the afternoon we are attacked. So it's about 3 days.
Okay.
3 days.
You are only walking.
Yeah, we are only walking.
You don't use cars or any other.
No, we are just walking on foot.
Okay.
Okay. And then on the evening, the 30th of June, we are.
What was your destination? Walking.
We are going towards the oil fields. Yeah,
okay.
To get to the oil fields in Ogaden, where this Swedish company is planning to start to explore oil.
Okay.
So we're on our way to that region.
Okay. Okay.
And then in the evening of the 30th of June, we think that we are kind of safe. We are sitting under a tree. The rebels have made a fire and boiled some tea, made some bread, and we have taken off our shoes and are like resting in the shadow. And then suddenly we hear one gunshot, and I think to myself, like, let it be some mistake. Someone accidentally fired a bullet. But immediately, 2-3 seconds after, we are attacked by maybe 150 Ethiopian army soldiers, just shooting bullets everywhere with machine guns and Kalashnikovs. And all the UNLF rebels, they run away immediately. So this first shot is just warning shot.
Were they not supposed to protect you?
No, I mean,
I think they are being they're being surprised and they run. And the plan from the beginning is that, I mean, if we get attacked, they will run away and we will surrender and show that we are not a part of the conflict. We are not a part of this fight.
Yeah, we have to discuss this with them. If something happens, I mean, you run away and me and Martin are going to hand ourselves over, because we don't want to end up in some kind of crossfire, because that's really dangerous.
Okay.
So they all ran away, and me and Yohann gets hit. I get hit in the shoulder with one bullet, and Yohann gets hit in his right arm.
Oh, that's the wound we have what on the video on the right hand. Okay.
So, but
there was no crossfire.
No, there was no one.
The UNLF soldiers didn't fire back.
No,
they didn't.
They ran away, because if they had fired back, we would be in the middle of the fire.
Yes.
So
they just
disappeared.
Yeah, you can say. I mean, there was an ambush. I mean, you have maybe 150 or 200 Ethiopian soldiers. I mean, charging to us in a big line. They just fire from the hip. I mean, so it was like it was a bullet rain, and we was really lucky to survive, because we had bullets. I mean, everywhere. But we quite early. I mean, after maybe 10 seconds or something, we get hit, both of us.
It was dark.
No, it's afternoon.
It's like, but I mean, the terrain is quite bushy. I mean, you don't see so much, because it's small trees and everywhere. I mean, you don't have a clear view. But I mean, yeah, quite immediately we get shot, and then after maybe 1 minute something, we get eye contact with the Ethiopian army, and we was, put our hands up and screaming, international press, don't shoot Swedish journalists. They was running through us, and I was hitting Martin with the backside of the Kalashnikov over his nose, and he was beating me, kicking me in the stomach, and was screaming and pointing at us. But
we're not working as a journalist in a conflict zone. This is a risk you take. You might get shot. I'm not angry for being shot. What I'm angry is what happens then. Because we believe that after this we will be taken to get contact with our embassy and get medical care, but that doesn't happen.
I will come to this to that question. Then you were forced to act and then be filmed. Who was in charge? And just tell us the details about the whole acting in Ogade.
When we was arrested, we tell the soldiers that, yes, you have arrested us now. If you want to put it to trial, it's up to you. But then we want to see a lawyer. We want to have the medical care. That's it. But they refused to take us to hospital. They refused to contact our embassy.
And I heard you fainted twice or something?
Yeah, one time. Yeah, I had lost, my engine was quite bad. I lost a lot of blood. And I was also very afraid to get some kind of blood poison, because we were still out in the desert. So, in the beginning, the first 1 or 2 days, we was refusing to do this kind of, this propaganda movie. But after a while, we was thinking, we have to survive this. So we start some kind of sick negotiation with them. If we say this, then we get health care. If we say this, you call our embassy. So it's...
How many days that negotiation took you? For example,
we are kept from the 30th of June up to the evening of the 4th of July. So it's 5 days before we get contact with an embassy. And